Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Let's begin the day by giving charity as usual. This week was a very busy week. There you go. Ready? Charity. Charity saves from death. Charity brings the redemption. Hashem should protect all of our soldiers and should put a little sense into our leaders that we should have a goal. And to, how do you say, evict and eliminate all of the evil people, the terrorists from the land of Israel. It's okay. So now, okay. So by the way, this Sunday morning, I guess starting at what time? 4 in the morning or something like that, is a fast day. 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. You have to see when it is Olet Shachar, when the sun rises by you. It's a fast day. So you can eat Motzi Shabbat, that's okay. But on Sunday, it's a fast day. And so you shouldn't eat on that day. And then there's so Sunday really you're not supposed to learn the Torah in the morning. You're not supposed to learn Torah, but as far as I know, you can learn Chassidut. So we will learn on Sunday morning. We will learn on Sunday morning. We'll learn on Sunday morning at least the speech of the Rebbe. But the Dvar
Who said that? You can't learn Torah. Who said that?
Oh, 1 second. What am I doing? I want to sleep late. I'm sorry. You're right. That's only a Tisha B'Av you can't learn Torah. I'm sorry. So I take that back. So
Tisha B'Av, you never have class.
What? No, we don't have class on Tisha B'Av. It won't be class on Tisha B'Av. I'm sorry, I just got confused. Tisha B'Av. So we will. There will be let's put it this way. There will be a fast day, and we will learn on Sunday. Good. That's it. Okay. I just wanted to sleep a couple hours ago, so I just woke up. Okay, we go. Yes. So let's go back to what the Rebbe was saying. The Rebbe is saying that we're now celebrating, in these days, we're celebrating the Beit HaMikdash, the Holy Temple. We're thinking about the Holy Temple. But unfortunately, what we're celebrating is that the temple was destroyed. It was destroyed. The first temple was destroyed. The second temple was destroyed. But why did Hashem destroy the temple? Because the Jewish people weren't doing what he wanted. They were letting them down. So instead of, God forbid, doing it to the Jewish people, so he did it to the temple. And not only that, he didn't really take the temple. He didn't really destroy the temple, just took it as a, how do you call it, as a holding, as a surety, that we would pay back the debt that we owe him. That's why it's the first one was called a Mishkan. Mishkan is also from the language of a mashkon. Mashkon means like collateral. You lend somebody money, they give you something to hold on to that they'll pay back. So God sort of took the temple into collateral. All right, well, excuse me. Okay, so in other words, essentially, these days this destruction of the temple business is only just to remind us to get our act together. Now, I have to remember another thing: that God, all these other religions they say, oh, God has abandoned the Jews because the Jews acted improperly, and therefore, you have to listen to us. So why did God punish the Jews? Because we acted like the non-Jews. We acted like the non-Jews. We took on their religions and we did their practices and whatever it was. So God said you can't do that. So of course the fixing of the destruction of the temple is not to do the same things that caused the destruction of the temple, to act like the non-Jews. That's exactly the opposite. What's so bad about what the non-Jews do? So let's take the worst sin that they do. They worship idols. They worship a person. So what's so bad about that? At least they're worshiping something, right? So the answer to that is that no, that's selfish. The only reason you would want to worship a person or a thing or a spirit or a level or whatever, a ghost or something like that, or the only reason you would want to disregard this 7 Noahide commandments is because of selfishness. You just don't want to do what God says. You want to do what you want to do. And you want to go to heaven. You want to do something else with. So Judaism is doing what God wants. That's the point. Doing what God wants. even if it means not doing what you want. You do God. What's the reward that you get for Judaism? The reward that you get is the greatest reward of the world. You're doing what God wants. That's the reward. Every second is a miracle. Every second is a gift, and we're repaying God for that gift. That's in Hebrew they call it, Yiddish they call it menschlich. It's a normal thing to do, right? Somebody loans you $1 million free loan, right? Free loan. You can pay back, whenever you want to. At least you say thank you. The person says, "Here, I'm loaning you $1 million. I just please do one favor. When you come in the morning, don't drive over my grass. Don't drive over my grass. And another thing is please water your grass. Your house looks terrible. $1 million, right? Give it back to me. Of course they should. That's all. Just water my. Of course I'll water my life. Here, God is giving us life. He's creating us, and He's giving us responsibility, and He's giving us eyes and ears and nose and mouth. Giving us all He asks for us. Just listen, do these commandments. Oh no, what am I going to get? What's the reward I'm going to get? What happens if I don't do it? I'm giving you everything. Come on, but just do me a favor. Do what I say. And not only that, you're doing what your creator. You're connecting yourself to the creator of the universe. Ultimate meaning, instead of leading just a half meaningful life. Okay, so you're able to do what the creator of the world wants. You can connect yourself to. That's amazing. Okay, so the Rebbe says yesh lo seif. So therefore, the Rebbe is saying that really these days of Tisha B'av and the 3 weeks are there only in order to be transformed. And when we transform them, they're better than all the other holidays. They're better than all of the other happy days in Judaism, Simchas Torah and etc. Purim will still be there. Purim will still. Okay, so what the Rebbe is trying to say like this: we don't know what a Jew is, but God does know what a Jew is, and the Rebbe knows what a Jew is. And as soon as the Jews start acting normal, so God doesn't like it because the Jews have to act differently. So that's why God destroyed the temple, to remind us what a Jew is. What is a Jew? A Jew is a godly person. That's what a Jew is. But how does the Torah call it? The Torah calls it, we're the sons of God. Bani Matam, every Jew. In the Song of Songs, we say, we're the wife of God. God got married to us. We're the sister of God. It says, Achoti. With the wife. One place it says Imi. God is we're the mother of God. What that means? Who knows? It explains the Hasidus. It talks about this Chachma, Bina. In any case, we're infinitely close and connected, and infinitely and intimately to the creator of the universe. Because that's pretty amazing. That's if you got connections with the creator of the universe, that's much greater than if you have the connections with who knows the biggest, richest people in the world or something, the most powerful people, the king of the country. Okay, so let's go. We did this yesterday, but let's do it again. Here we go. Yes, Lahosi, if we can add on Babir, an explanation. Babir and explain Hatzorich, the necessity of and the necessity, and also the how do you say, the tremendous value of learning Torah about Moshiach and the Beulah, and also the third temple. God willing, that's what we'll do. We'll learn a little bit every day about the building of the temple. Maybe we'll do a little bit now even. Third temple, as we're being as that is the door which will bring us into the days of the Mashiach. Learning about the temple, third temple, what's going to happen in the days of Mashiach, and how we can bring about Mashiach. What is Mashiach? Even though the rabbis say that the Mashiach will come by Hesach Hadat, the Mashiach is going to come when we're not thinking about it. Hesach Hadat. So the Rebbe said that's not what that means. These words, Hesach Hadat, means you remove your mind from it, removing your mind. So maybe we shouldn't learn about Mashiach, because Mashiach is going to come only when we don't think about it. Huh? As Ein Zastir, this is no contradiction to thinking about and contemplating in a way of dat, in a way of trying to understand Shemakasha dato, that you connect your dat, your understanding. Now, the word dat means to understand, but the word dat is not just understanding. Usually the word bina means understanding. The word dat means to connect. You connect, something becomes real. It's like the difference between, a lecturer that gives a lecture about, if you win the lottery, what to do with your money. And then someone comes in and tells him, you just won the lottery. So up to there, he understood what it means to win $100 million, and he can explain it. And he's aware of all the implications and the ramifications and how you have to what. And then someone comes in and says, your number just won. That's called dot. It's me. It's connected. You have to connect your dot, your feeling of mine. It belongs to me. Ownership, connection. The kesher amitz v'chazak, that you have to attach your feeling. That is like reality. And put your mind deeply into the oneness of Hashem. Right? This comes from the Tanya, end of the 3rd chapter, how to give birth to love and fear of God. Love and fear of God. So you have to do, it's the same thing, right? You can understand something, but when you realize that it's yours and that it's valuable and that it's good, so you become excited. So when we think, God is creating me, nice, we talk about it, but think about it. God is really creating you. Think about that. When you start thinking about it, the more you think about it, is the more you start to, is this really true? Is that really real? So that is, if you want to call it the truth, but it's not just intellectual truth. It's really mine. It belongs to me. It says you have to insert your mind and think of it. It's really, God is really creating me, really creating me, really, it's really creating. Or the phone rings. Just a second. The phone's, no, forget about the phone. God is creating you. Think about this. When you do, you come to love God. You come to have awe of God. It's the same thing. That's what you're supposed to think about Moshiach. Moshiach, as we said yesterday, it's not just a side topic in Judaism. That's what?
Is this pretty good?
I'm sorry. Oh, it's okay. I got to turn somebody off. Someone is over here. I don't like to turn people off generally, but here we go. Yes, good. Okay, good. Glad to hear you. Glad to see that you're here, Herschel. But so you left the microphone on. Here we go. So we have to learn about Mashiach, learn about the Holy Temple. Even though it says Mashiach is going to come when we're not thinking about it, it doesn't mean that's we're not thinking about it. It means that when you must think about Mashiach, you must think about the arrival. What does it mean? Not thinking. It means above understanding. No matter how much you think you understand, no matter how much you're connected, you don't understand. It'll be miracles. It'll be so good. You never imagine there could be such good. You can never imagine there'll be such good. And so it's like you won $1 million, you made $100 million, you won $1 billion, you won $100 billion. You win health, you win infinite life. You just won infinite life. You just won infinite happiness. You just want infinite meaning. What does that mean? What are we supposed to do? Well, what are you supposed to do with it? Right? It becomes like a different you, the real you. That's what Mashiach is going to reveal, who we really are, what our real potential is, what our real identity is, how infinitely good we are, that God is creating us. Why we must be important if God's creating us. So what should we actually do? And even though that we're making a lot of noise and lately, in this year, and this year is the year of miracles, like we said, I'm just repeating a lot what we did yesterday. And there's big miracles, but nevertheless, we see that it's a little bit difficult. It's kommt schwer, it's unschwer. It's difficult that we should be permeated with the awareness and the feeling that we are approaching any moment the days of the Mashiach, to the point where we'll come to live it. Now, that's one of the ideas of Hasidut Chabad. One of the ideas of Hasidut Chabad is that we start to understand what we are. We start to understand what God is. We understand this all. We start to understand and to feel the spiritual worlds, and to realize that they're just creations. The spiritual worlds are just creations, just the same way as your shoes are creations of God. So is the world of Atzilus and Bria and etc. And the world of the upper spiritual worlds, they're more real than we are. And they're only just creations like we are. They also don't understand God. But the upper worlds, they realize they don't understand God. And the angels are burning up to God and etc. with a tremendous desire because they realize that God is infinitely above their understanding, infinitely more real. That's the point. It's not more infinitely more spiritual, infinitely more real. That's why they get excited. And they have love, because love is when you feel something that's really very good, very alive, an amazing gift. So it says it's very difficult for us to do it. We're not doing it. One of the reasons why it's difficult, because you don't really appreciate the miracles that are happening. Like it says, I will show you miracles. So the main thing of Moshiach and Judaism is this physical world. So, if God really is good and we're supposed to believe in him, so let him start to do some good stuff, right? Well, there's all this terrible stuff going around. Says the Rebbe, that's exactly the point. All we see is the bad things. And one reason that we misinterpret them and why it sort of neutralizes us, the bad things, because that's all we see. We think that there's no other alternative, just the bad things. Says the Rebbe, no, you have to look and see the amazing miracles that are happening right now. I will show you miracles. There's two things. Number one is I will show you. This means that God himself points, so to speak, with his finger, not by means of a prophet or anything. We sort of mistranslated this yesterday when we did it. And the beginning is in a way of I will show you, namely that there are the miracles that happen is in a way that from the beginning, God is the one that's showing them. In other words, you don't attribute miracles to nature. Not in a way that, first of all, you see miracles, and afterwards you start to realize, hey, these come from God, this comes from God. Masha Inkim, which is not the case, from the way is the opposite. Niflo Tarenu. Like this year, Tavshin Nun Aleph, Tiesh Shanat Niflo Tarenu. What does it mean? That first of all, there are big miracles. And you can see that they're miracles. And afterwards, you have to explain how it is by seeing these miracles, what they are. Litbonen, to realize that these are a sign of the redemption. The Od Beikar, and even more, Shadayan Lo Haya Ereno Ali de Kodesh Baruch Hu Ba'atzmo. The God has not yet shown us the real miracles. Shakodesh Baruch Hu himself will show every single Jew the miracles of the redemption. Sha'az then, Ein Sorech B'Hazbara, you won't have to have any necessity to explain them and to permeate our being. Is kasher lif'ol sheyachdor b'hakara b'hergesh adam. When if a person, let's say the Jewish people got out of Egypt, so they saw it was God that was doing it. They saw these miracles, which is not the case now. There's amazing miracles going on, but it's hard for us to understand that God is doing it, and it's hard to understand that it's pointing toward Mashiach. So like we said before, when the Rebbe was speaking, there was the Iron Curtain fell, and the Saddam Hussein shot like 39 missiles into Israel, and they blew up whole buildings and everything, and no one was hurt. No one was hurt. So, okay, these are amazing miracles, but it was not so clear that it was pointing to the future redemption. And I think the reason is very simple. The Jewish people have been living on miracles since Abraham, but purely on miracles since the Second Temple was destroyed. Second Temple was destroyed. The Jewish people have been scattered all over the world. We didn't have our own army. We didn't have our own government. We didn't have our own this. We're completely at the mercy of the non-Jews, right? Wrong. We were at the mercy of God, and God had a lot of mercy. And that's why there's still Jewish people now. If there was any other nation, they wouldn't exist. They would have gone a long time ago. They would have lost their identity, right? We've been outside of Israel for 2,000 years. So how do we, miracles, big miracles have been happening. Good, so we've had 2,000 years of miracles already. So we sort of got used to them. And not only that, there's been a lot of bad things that happened also, right? A lot of bad things that happened. And like people say, if there's God, how could that Holocaust happen? So you can say, well, listen, how did the Jews make it up to the Holocaust? How did they make it? How did they? People have been trying to destroy us for thousands, 2,000 years. How did we make it up to the Holocaust? And how did we survive afterwards? How did anybody survive? I talked to some people from the Holocaust. There was Rabbi Mangel, others, and they said that if there's anybody that survived the Holocaust, it's a miracle. People didn't eat for weeks. They didn't crazy things in the cold. They had pajamas. It was like 5 degrees below zero, and they had to work outside. And the fact that anybody lived, it was just the whole thing was a miracle. Okay, but who needs miracles like that? In any case, after all the miracles, we don't see that they're pointing miracles. That's what the Jewish people, they just live on miracles. So what? Says the Rebbe, no, the miracles are pointing, especially now, that any moment Mashiach is supposed to come. And we don't see it. So what are we supposed to do? So we don't see it. We haven't been seeing it for 2,000 years. What are we supposed to do? The answer is, how are they learning Torah? By means of learning Torah in the Mashiach. I'll tell you a story. They said that the Klosenberger Rebbe, he said, they asked him, he was in the Holocaust and he lost his entire family, 11 children and everything. And afterwards, he miraculously got out and he remarried and he had 11 more children. But they asked him, you were in the Auschwitz. He was there for 4 years over what the details were. And you can learn Rebbe, his name is Rebbe Halberstrom, and he got out of the Holocaust. They asked him, what was the most disappointing, what was the worst moment in the time you were in the Holocaust? A lot of people don't like to talk about it whatsoever, but he said, well, I'll tell you what the worst day of the Holocaust was when the Americans came and they freed us. That was the worst day. So what was the worst day? What was that? He said, because after what we went through, I was sure that Mashiach would come and release us. I was sure, no doubt about it, that Mashiach would come and release. Now, he was a very religious person. He was waiting for Mashiach all the time, right? And the other people, were they waiting for Mashiach? Were they not waiting for? In any case, so to speak, Mashiach did not come then, or at least he didn't actively come, right? Then, like the Lubavitcher Rebbe said that the previous Rebbe was the Mashiach of his generation. No, so how was there a Holocaust? He was in the time of the Holocaust. How did it happen? Right? So obviously Mashiach was there, but the Mashiach didn't come. It didn't arrive, however it was. But now, says the Rebbe, it's going to be different. Now all the miracles that we're seeing, they're pointing Mashiach is supposed to come any moment. So how are we supposed to get excited about this? We see that, there was Gimel Tammuz. We see that the Rebbe, so to speak, he passed away. The Rebbe's not there in the building. We don't see the Rebbe. What's going on? So the Rebbe says, listen, don't think about those things. Don't think about it. I'm telling you, we have to be a not normal nation. Not normal nation. We have to ignore the bad things. Who did that? King David. King David, his whole life was terrible, awful. And he ignored the bad. Not that he complained about the bad, but the bad did not in any way shake his connection to good. And shake his connection to good. And King David, in a way, had much worse things happen to him than we did. King David, every moment of his life was a disappointment, a challenge. So how are we supposed to see Mashiach now? How are we supposed to see things that all the other generations did? How is the Rebbe supposed to convince us that Mashiach is here, Mashiach is coming, talk about Mashiach? Why even think about the subject? Says the Rebbe, no, you're not just only supposed to think, you're supposed to feel it. How do we do it? By means of learning Torah, the ideas of Mashiach, and the redemption. Because with the power of the Torah, which the Torah is the wisdom of God, which is above the world, and it has the power to change nature and to change our nature. Shagam kasher matzad ha'ergesh, that even though your feelings do not indicate that we are approaching the future redemption, that we still are, God forbid, outside of any inkling that Mashiach is coming. Because we have not gone out of our inner exile, but by means of learning Torah and the ideas of Mashiach, and that's what we're doing. So if so, you start to think a little bit different. You raise yourself up to the situation of redemption, future redemption. And what is redemption? Like we said before, to reveal our true potential. A person starts thinking, listen, the reason I'm thinking negatively is because I don't feel who I am. I don't feel anything positive in me. I'm just like the plaything of the vicissitudes of nature. Whatever happens, that affects me. You see people looking and listening to the news. People listen to, I don't believe this guy became president. This guy became mayor. It's so awful. Good. I mean, the things are awful, and it really is, good to learn about the news. But we can't forget that the whole business is in the hands of God. Right? You look at the story of the Megillah. I don't believe it. The king got put Haman. Haman made a decree. This is the worst. But it ended up, it came out to be the best possible. Right? We have this amazing holiday of Purim, and all the other holidays will be negated except for Purim. So when bad things happen, we have to pray to God that He should stop it. But it shouldn't break us totally to the point where we say, that's it, there's not going to be any redemption, forget about this, leave Judaism, I want. Now we should live the ideas of redemption. I'm going to tell this story. I'm going to write this down. Yesterday I forgot the story to tell. Mr. Lev. Yes, sir. Okay. So we should have the more we learn about Mashiach, we'll realize, first of all, Mashiach has to come. God did not forget about the topic. Number two, it has to come any moment. And when we start to feel a little bit of what's going to happen, that it's going to be things that will be so good and that it's above understanding, above comprehension, it says, behold, Mashiach is coming. Then we'll start to feel it's really happening. And we can attach this with learning Pirkei Avot. Now we're learning the 6th chapter of Pirkei Avot this week. 6th. What does it say? Shanu Chachamim B'Lashon HaMishnah. The rabbis learned in the language of the Mishnah. Baruch Shebachar B'Yam. Blessed is God who chose them, the rabbis, and their teaching. Rabbi Meir Omer. That's how the 6th chapter, Pirkei Avot, the chapters of the fathers, has 6 chapters. 6 chapters in it. So the 6th chapter, the Jewish people, they learn one chapter every week between Passover and Shavuot. So there's 6 weeks in between. So they one chapter every week. But a lot of groups, Chabad also, we learn until Rosh Hashanah. Another chapter every week. So this chapter, according to that, this Shabbat, we learn the 6th chapter. How does it start off? Rabbi Meir says, anyone who learns Torah, Lishma, learns Torah for to connect your soul to God. That's what it means, for the sake of the Torah. He merits a lot of things. It says, we have to understand something. Number 1, number 2, number 3. 3 things we have to understand. What do we have to understand? Number 1, this idea that the rabbis taught in the expressions in the way of the Mishnah, this similarly is just an introductory statement. In other words, a Breita, it's really not a Mishnah, it's a Breita. It's what's called a Breita. It was learned outside of the Mishnah. Ubalashon, a Mishnah, Lashon is a Breita. It's a Breita. And when it says Lashon a Mishnah, this is it was taught in the way of the Mishnah, but it really is not a Mishnah. The rabbis taught this in a way. No, there was what's called Mishnahs and Breitas. Mishnah, the Rabbi Yehuda, a small history of Judaism, a little bit. Moses brought the Torah down from Sinai. Anybody who reads the Torah, 5 books of Moses, will know that you can't understand anything from the Torah. Even the 10 Commandments are not really understandable. If you make up your own explanations, as first of all, you won't get the details right, and even the general idea, the chances are 90-1 that you're going to make a mistake. I mean, what does it mean? Shouldn't have any other gods. I am the God that took you out of Egypt. Shouldn't have any other gods. How was the first I am God took you out of Egypt? How is that a commandment? Etc. You can look at. So Moses came down from Mount Sinai and he gave the explanations of the Torah. And as the Jewish people, as time went on, the course of the Jewish people had more and more questions about what to do. And they went and they asked the rabbis, and the rabbis explained it, but it was not written down for the public because everybody knew it. All the Jews were together in Israel. So if a person made a mistake, there was always a rabbi around that would correct them. But when the Jews got, the second temple got destroyed, and the Jews got exiled, so they had to write it down. So the first one to write it down in an official way was Rabbi Yehuda Anasi, and he wrote down Mishnah. How did he write down the Mishnah? What did he write down? He was a genius, and he took all of the learnings from all of the previous generations. He gathered all the rabbis together, and everybody went over the learnings and the teachings from all the previous generations, and he wrote it down in the form of a Mishnah. And there were some that he did not include, whatever reasons he didn't include in the Mishnah, but those learnings he called the Breita, and they're called Breitas. So the first 5 chapters of Pirkei Avot are Mishnah, and the last one is really a Breita. So it says it's really not a Mishnah, it's called a Breita. Breita means bar, from outside. It was outsider. So what does it mean what does it mean the rabbis taught in the way of the Mishnah? Rabbi Meir Omer. It says, until now, all the chapters of the Mishnah, you had to make known that from here and on, the previous ones were Mishnah, and this one is a Breita. Right? Even since that this comes on its own, it doesn't come on its own. It's part of Pirkei Avot, and not only that, it says it's the words of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir talks about the greatness of learning Torah for the sake of God, Ishma. So it must be that there's some sort of a connection between this chapter and the previous. Now, Rabbi Meir, he was one of those that was usually included in the Mishnah, not in the Breita. So this first sentence comes and tells us about the greatness of learning Torah. Greatness of learning Torah. Greatness of learning the oral Torah, the Torah that the rabbis gave to explain the ideas of the Torah, to explain it. So we also have to understand B'kol echad mibeit piskot mifnei atzmo, each one on its own. What does it say? Number one, the wise men, the chachamim, they learned in the language of the Mishnah, number one. And Rabbi Meir says, anyone who learns Torah for the sake of God, he merits a lot of things. So there's 2 things, right? The rabbis taught in the language of the Mishnah, blessed they should be in their teaching, number one. And Rabbi Meir said, anyone who learns Torah for the sake of God, he merits a lot of things. Let's understand both of these things. Yeah, okay. Beit, number 2. When it says Shanu Chachamim, that the rabbis learned in the language of the Mishnah, after that, this is after Rabbeinu HaKodesh, like I said, Rabbi Yehuda Anasi, he arranged the Mishnayot. That's the 6 orders of the Mishnayot. They're talking about damages, talking about the holidays, talking about agricultural laws, the laws of marriage, laws of the Holy Temple. This includes a set number of tractates, a set number of chapters in each tractate, a set number of Mishnahs in each chapter. That was Mishnah. But the Breitot, they are a different category. Breita is different. What is the Tochen, Inyan, Siruf? Why did all of a sudden the rabbis decide to put a set of Brightot in the end of Pirkei Avot, which are all Mishnah. Why do they put them together? Until the Breita is learned in the language of the Mishnah. What's going on over here? What's going on? Why? Okay, but when Rebbe Meir said, Kivin Shib, now just one more time, you just have to realize something. The essence of Judaism is these rabbis. The essence of Judaism is the explanation of these rabbis. Without these rabbis, so everyone can explain the Torah how they want, and which means that your chances of getting it right, in other words, saying what God wants, are very slim. So the whole point of the Torah is, let's just say, learning Torah Lishma means that you learn Torah because you know that it's what God wants you to understand. And if you understand improper, that's why all these arguments are in the Talmud. You know what? If you make up your own understanding, so you're not learning the Torah. You're not learning the whole purpose of the Torah. You could just as well learn a telephone book or something, because you're not really learning the Torah if you understand it improperly. You're not, or you don't even try to understand it properly. So therefore, the teachings of the rabbis, that's the essence, that's the flesh of the Torah. That's the whole, the organs of the Torah. Okay. So the Mishnah and the Breita is very important, but the Mishnah is more exact than the Breita is. The Breita is, for instance, when Rebbe Meir said, okay, so why learn the Mishnah and the Breita together? Number 3 question. Rebbe Meir said, since that in the continuation of this sentence that he says many things that the one who learns the Torah merits. It's in the continuation of this first chapter. What does it mean that he merits many things? Exactly the opposite. This seems to be unnecessary. What do you have to say? One who learns the Torah merits many things, right? And then he goes and enumerates them. It's already enumerated. What do you have to say? Many things. You see them, what they are. Here, you want to? Well, let's have a look. I'll show you what the 6th chapter is. This at first glance, this seems to be unnecessary language. Here, let's see if we can do this quickly. Here, let's give it a try. Here, chapter 6. There's 6. Pirkei Avot. Huh? Can we try it? We have chapter 5. Why not chapter 6? What's wrong with chapter 6? Here we go. Chapter 6, Pirkei Avot. Here we go. Well, let's see how it goes. Ready? Rebbe Meir would say, whoever studies Torah for Torah's sake alone merits many things. Not only that, but the creation of the whole entire world is for, it says, no. This is the actual teaching. Okay. Is worthwhile for him. What are the things he merits? 1 second. It's not good. There, let's see. What's this? Well, that's what we're doing over here. That's not what I want. I didn't want that. Okay, let's go back. I wanted the Mishnah. Here he's giving an explanation of the Mishnah. I wanted. Here we go. Okay. Here. No, come on. Chapter 6. Pirkei Avot. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Here. No, I'm sorry. It leaves out that introduction about Rebbe Meir. Okay, so Rebbe Meir says, whoever learns Torah merits a lot of things. And he says, then it starts off, Torah is greater than even the Kohanim. But one who learns Torah, he merits all these things. How do he merit the Torah? Anyway, so he lists the things, what they are. Mishnah 7. How did this happen? This is Mishnah 6. No, I don't want Mishnah 7. I wanted Mishnah 1. Why did it do this? All right, let's just forget it. We tried. You have to believe me. So Rebbe Meir says you merit a lot of things, and then afterwards it lists the things that you merit. Why does he have to say merit Harvard things? Just keep reading. You'll see that there's a lot of things. Why extra words? Says the Rebbe, the point is like this. A breita, the word breita, means Torah ideas that were learned outside of the place of learning of Rabbeinu HaKodesh, of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Therefore, it's called Breita. Breita means they're learned outside. Outside. They weren't included in the Mishnah with Rabbi Meir, with the Rabbi Yehuda Nasi wrote. They weren't included in the Mishnah. They were very important, so they were called Breita. They were it was a separate book, if you want to call it. That's because the Aramaic word for outside is mibra, Breita. So even though that the level of the Mishnah is higher, is more exact, if you want to call it more godly than the Breita is lower than the Mishnah until it's called outside learning, but nevertheless it's part of the Torah. And they have all of the importance and the holiness and the power of the Torah. All of the whole thing, the Mishnah and the Breita, it's always given with the Midrash and everything, was all given to Moses on Mount Sinai. It was all given. So this is stressed in Pirkei Avot. Pirkei Avot, this is the beginning. It starts off, Pirkei Avot starts off how God gave the Torah to Moses, and Moses gave it to Joshua, and Joshua gave it over to the elders, and the elders gave it over to the prophets, and etc. It talks about how the Torah came down from Moses. Moses received the Torah from Sinai, and he gave it over to Joshua, and Joshua gave it until Hamidu Talmidim Arba, and says the men of the great assembly, they said, make a lot of pupils, have a lot of pupils. And in the end, all of the Mishnah, after the Mishnahs were finished, so you add on also the Breitas. They were given outside of the official learning of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, Rabbi Yehuda. This includes everything which is in the Torah. Everything that everyone was going to learn, it's all continued. It's all included in the oral Torah, the Mishnah, the Breita. Eventually, we get also all the explanations which are in the Talmud. So what are we learning over here? Everything was learned by the wise men, the Chachamim, in the language of the Mishnah. That's how the 6th chapter starts out, to indicate that even though the Breita is lower, and the Breita was not officially learned together with the Mishnah, but don't think that it's not a part of the Torah. No, it's equal to the Mishnah. In some ways, the Mishnah is equal. It was all given to Moses on Mount Sinai. It's the Mishnah, therefore, and the Breita are all equal to the 10 Commandments. They're all pure godliness. It's just that some are godliness in a little bit different way. And in general, in a more general way, all of the Breitas, they include everything in the Torah that will be revealed even now. That's what it means outside, Breita outside, because the Torah is relevant to all time. God wrote the Torah. The Torah is not written by Moses. It was given through Moses, but the Torah is God's will, God's understanding. Therefore, God creates time, God creates us. So this is really the blueprint, not just for all creation in general, but all creation individually. At all time is part of creation. So therefore, everything that's going to be learned in the Torah and everything that's taught in the Torah to direct our lives properly, it's all continued. It's all included in the words of the rabbis. That's the Breita, means outside of the actual official giving of the Torah. Remember, there's also the Torah, how it applies to every moment outside of the giving of the Torah. That's even regarding to the Torah which Mashiach is going to come. Like it says by the Moshiach, that we'll see that the Torah is coming from God. It's going to be called a new Torah. What it means, the inside of the Torah, the secrets, mysteries of the Torah that will cause us to love God more, to love every word of the Torah more. This will be revealed in the days of the Mashiach, until the rabbis say the Torah that we learn now is just like wind compared to the Torah that Mashiach is going to teach us. We'll really feel the godliness. Right now, the Torah that we have it's possible to twist it around. It's possible to misunderstand what the Torah says. In the future, it won't be possible to misunderstand it. Right? Therefore, all the religions in the world will all just stop because they somehow or other say that the Torah justifies them. Or they say the Torah is not relevant to them, but the Torah has been lost, the Torah, whatever they say. When Mashiach comes, we'll see that all that is not so, that the Torah is still alive, and it's the same Torah that Moses gave with the same explanations of the rabbis, but we'll feel that it's alive. That's the Torah, we'll feel the life in it. Nevertheless, also the Torah that a person learns right now is still what's called outside. Why is it outside? It was just given in the language of the Mishnah. Just like the inside secrets of the Torah that will be revealed, the godliness of the Torah, which will be revealed in the days of the Mashiach, will feel the godliness in every word, but don't think that that means that the Torah we're learning now is not the right one. It's like part of the Breita, it's part of the outside aspects that God wanted the Torah to be revealed also. And this is especially stressed in what Rabbi Meir said. Anyone who learns the Torah for the sake of God, he merits a lot of things, physically things. What does it mean, a lot of physical things? This means it doesn't necessarily mean all the things which come afterwards. This that he merits physical things is not just an introduction, a title for all the things that are going to be afterwards. No, is a statement in itself. It's a statement in itself. When you learn Torah, you will merit many things. And then afterwards, it enumerates other things. What is this many things that you're going to learn? What? The many things is the infinite essence of God, which is in the Torah. That's the many things. The infinity of the Torah. She'en ribui gadol yoter. Many things means as many as you have, they'll have many. Many. A million is many. Yeah, a million is many, but that's not the many I'm talking about. I'm talking about more than a million, a billion, more than that. Many, no matter how much you have, is more than that. That's pure godliness. Infinity. That's what's going to be revealed in the Torah that Mashiach is going to teach. It'll be the same Torah, but we'll feel the infiniteness, the unlimited godliness in the Torah. It'll come from God, Torah mi'ite. It'll come from God's essence. That's what it means. One who learns the Torah for the sake of God, he will merit the infiniteness of the Torah. Dvarim harbe, a lot of things that by means of learning the Torah now, we will merit to the unlimited, pure godliness of the Torah, which will be revealed in the days of the Mashiach. And this we can understand what's relevant to us. That even a person that feels himself that he is bright, that he's far away, and a person that feels himself that he's outside, like the bright does, that he is very far away from the days of the Mashiach, from the godliness that's going to be revealed in the Mashiach, that's going to be the big main revelation of the essence of the Torah, then we'll really feel happy to learn the Torah, every word, every letter. But if you feel yourself in a breita, that you're far away, you're outside, so you should know you're not so. By means of learning Torah, says Rabbi Meir, you merit infinite things. You merit, just learn the Torah right now, that you will elevate yourself from feeling outside, and you'll suddenly feel, I'm inside. God is creating me. I'm not outside of the picture. God gave me the Torah. I'm not outside of holiness. Everyone will feel that even though you might think that you're outside, but the fact of the matter is, and who doesn't feel they're outside? You'll feel, at least at that moment, you'll feel permeated with the godliness of the Torah, including the ideas of the future redemption. So it's understood that that'll be the new Torah that will be revealed. May it be God's will. And this is the main thing, that we won't have to talk about this anymore. And we won't have to think about it. And we won't have to contemplate it about Mashiach and the Gula. It won't be necessary. The learning of may it be God's will that the learning of the Torah in matters of Mashiach and the redemption and the third temple, we won't have to think about it. Why? Because immediately it'll be here. We'll see it. We'll see in our physical eyes that, behold, here Mashiach is here. We'll feel the godliness of the Torah. We'll feel the Mashiach of the Torah. We'll see the third temple. Here's the total redemption, and the Beis Hamikdash, the third temple, will be here with us physically. Simply, what do we mean? that this day, says the Rebbe, this Shabbat, and when the Rebbe was speaking, it was the 17th day of Tammuz, Parshat Balak. Before we begin reading next week's Torah portion, Parshas Pinchas, that's what we read in Mincha. And this year, which is the year of seeing miracles, and our year, it's the day of the miracles of God, Pla'ot Hashem, will be fulfilled the prophecy of this week's Torah portion that Bilam gave. The Tenase Malchutod will be elevated God's kingship with the Moshiach. There will be the completion of God's kingship of King David. By means of Dorach Kochav Yaakov, there will come a star from Jacob, and there will be a shooting star, a comet from Israel. Who is that? The Mashiach. That will be, King David was the first Mashiach, and Maimonides says the Mashiach will be Mashiach ben David. He'll be the final Mashiach. He will redeem all the Jewish people. He will bring the third temple. He will gather all of the Jewish people to Israel. That'll be an eternal redemption that won't be after it any sort of exile. In continuation to this, we come all of the details in Parshat Pinchas. It says that Pinchas, he's got the soul of Elijah the prophet. And Elijah the prophet is going to come to announce the Mashiach. So Ata Eliyahu, we'll realize that Eliyahu already came to the big court, to the big Sanhedrin, the big court. That will be the 10th Sanhedrin for the Jewish people, and the land of Israel will be divided up. This will complete all the 42 journeys that were in the desert, and we said that's the 21 days between the 3 weeks that were in the 3 weeks of misery, from the 17th day of Tammuz to the Tisha B'Av, that those 3 weeks will be doubled. Each one will transform to good. So that's the 42. The 42, that corresponds to the 42 journeys that the Jewish people took in the desert. And that's what we've been doing, these 42 journeys, in the 3,300 plus years from the time we got out of Egypt until Mashiach comes. We've been doing these 42 journeys until we get to Yarden Yerecho. Yarden Yerecho, he says that's the Mashiach, the Reach Vadam. He'll judge everything by his smell. Well, all the Jews will come to the land of Israel. All the Jews on the other side of the Jordan River. And the land of Israel will be divided to all the Jewish people. Like we said, there'll be even 13 portions. So, shalom. And like it's explained also in Matas Masa. And the Beit HaMikdash will be here. We'll start sacrificing sacrifices every day. And also on Shabbat. And the sacrifices of the holidays, including all of these, also the holidays, the new holidays that are going to come from these fast days that are going to be translated to happy days and to holidays. In the third temple, a third temple which is already built, which just has to come down and be revealed in this world, the reality. Then we'll learn the new Torah from the Mashiach, and Elu Devorim, that's going to be in 2 weeks. Everyone will show with his finger and say, learning is Ela, these are the words. It says that your eyes will see God, just like when they went over the sea, with the Red Sea, where the Yam Suf had split. So they said, this is my God. And we'll see the presence of God, B'Tzion in Israel. We will see God returning to Israel. So the main thing of Israel is not just the physical land. Of course, that is the physical land. But the main thing is the godliness of the land. Israel is the place where the third temple is going to be. Israel is the place where all the Jews are going to be gathered to because of the holiness of the land. That's the point. The holiness of the land. And even the original founders of the Zionistic movement, everything, they didn't understand why they had to have Israel. Why was such a burning thing? They had to have the land of Israel. Why was so burning inside of them? They had a lot of the original Zionists that were very disappointed. Herzl, these people, why not take Uganda? Why not take? But the others said, no, we have to have land. They were totally not religious Jews. They were anti-religious Jews. But they needed the land of Israel, had to be the land of Israel. They were willing to sacrifice their lives for the land of Israel. They do it today. because deep inside they felt that this is not just a land, a normal land, and the Jews are not just a normal people like everybody else, that the Jews are God's people, and our job is to reveal God in the whole world. That's what it says, Elokei, that God himself will save Elokim Yitzchiat Zion. He will save the Jewish people, and he will return all of the Jews there. Yeshuvu Sharim, Yeshvu Yesharim at Panecha, that the holy people, the Jews, will sit in the face of God immediately. It will immediately happen right now, actually, factually, really. So we won't have to think about it. I mean, well, like I say, when the Mashiach comes, we'll have to believe in the exile. We'll believe in the exile. Just like now, the exile is everywhere. We see, and we believe Mashiach is going to come. In the future, it'll be so obvious, godliness will be everywhere, that we'll have to believe. Do you know, my daddy said that once the Jews were in exile, there used to be Jews that didn't do Torah mitzvahs. Really? There used to be such a thing? I'm going to ask my father. I think maybe you're making a mistake. No, it's true. It's true. There used to be such a thing, right? That's the way it's going to be. Mashiach will come, and suddenly the world will be a really good, happy, meaningful, blessed, eternal world. Every single individual will be infinitely, infinitely valuable. We'll see why God is creating everybody. That's the idea of Mashiach, and that's supposed to happen right now. All of the fast days will turn to be feast days. Okay, well, we made it through that.